are going to sit back and just do standard bans.
Aurora called this
bans.
one. And you as well, kind of saying there would be standard, but Ratatasker banned out here. Yeah, some amount of speculation that Europe doesn't value this god as highly as North America, but of course, when Sylvanas gets through and Ionic is on your team, you pick Ionic, especially when you banned out Geb. Yeah, that's right. AP is still available, but how good is AP into the Sylvanas is the question. A lot of counter-initiate. Can they afford to not pick it, though, given that Sylvanas ultimate?
I don't think, to be fair, EU doesn't value Arpoash that high. I know that for a fact.
Boosh value it that high?
I don't think, maybe they do.
I don't know.
But the thing is, Boosh has been playing a lot of Hunters this season, a lot of like Kronos as well we've seen out of him too. He's looking for a lot of auto-attack based gods. Will he pull out an Arpoash, which is kind of the opposite style?
Yes, they will. They'll take Apollo Alpoash to go along with this Sylvanas, so their duo lane set. Their mid laner appears to be set as well. I suppose this could go the way of Divios.
Yeah, I heard Snoopy loves Apollo. He's played Apollo a ton in the past, and I think this is his go-to god right now.
But Freya.
So that's cool to see. And then there's a Freya, yeah. Like you were saying, Hindu, before we got into picking.
I mean, Reals will play Freya, and Freya against Apollo is a good matchup for Freya, especially. I mean, beforehand it used to be a good matchup for Freya anyway, but once we took the magical protections off Apollo's Mez, it made the matchup even stronger in Freya's favor.
Worth noting as well that Freya is the only god in the game that scales magical defense. Fun.
It's also worth noting that Thor is still open for TSM. Serket was banned. Garz is an awesome Serket, but he's a great Thor. Maybe they think their comp is really good against Thor, so we'll have to see if Garz will pick it.
Shaping up on the side of Fnatic here, it looks like it may be that Bellona Freya lane that we saw demonstrated by Paradigm, and they're going to pair a Thanatos with it.
Thanatos pickup as well.
My goodness, is this going to Twig or is this somehow going to Zeros?
I'm going to hold for a second. I'm just going to hold for a second because I did have a little chat to Zeros beforehand. I don't release anything unless it gets picked, and I'll be like, I can talk to you a little bit about that.
Well, I can surmise that...
They mentioned Thanatos and another god that goes along with it that could potentially come out alongside it because it causes issues for a lot of mid lane gods, especially ones like Alpoash.
Yeah, that's a very good point, right? If they put Alpoash into the mid lane here, Thanatos buys a Wingblade or Sprint 2. I mean, it's pretty much lights out for Alpoash.
But if he dunks on Alpoash, what's Alpoash going to do to get away? There is no getaway from the dunk in. Maybe he'll blow the slows and a little bit of burst damage, but Thanatos will heal that back up if he gets the kill.
That's right. Thor going to be selected as well, as Aurora pointed out. Available. Team Solo mid going to lock that in.
Degaz.
Whoa! Our Lady of the Night, Nox.
Wow.
Selected. This means Alpoash solo, or do you think the Nox is the solo here?
I think Nox solo.
Well, she has the mobility.
Apollo mid, Alpoash.
Sylvanas duo?
No, Alpoash solo, Nox duo. Because I've seen Snoopy playing Nox in ranked. I don't know if he's going to do it, but I have seen it in the duo lane.
Sylvanas sounds good to me.
I have no idea. It could happen for sure.
But does that mean Apollo's the solo?
Or
the
mid
laner?
Maybe, mid. For Boosh.
Well, Boosh, like we said, Boosh has been playing a lot of Hunters, so he could potentially be that. We'll find out as we're waiting for the last pick for Fnatic.
The only reason I think it may be that Nox solo is it just seems more like a Divios god, right? It's a controller, it's a team fight disruptor, but Osiris going to be paired up here. It's the final pick for Fnatic, so that likely to be their solo laner.
Another cool thing to note for Fnatic, they banned Serket because they knew they were going to pick Thanatos. Thanatos is great against Thor, so that was a great job by banning Serket out because Serket's really good against Thanatos, but Thor isn't, and Thanatos does really well against Thor.
Thanatos, even though we've not seen him too much, he has the extra penetration because of his number 2, the Son of Death. It also gives him the ability to increase his penetration. On top of that, he's got a good matchup against Alpoash for dunking mid lane, and then Thanatos too. So Fnatic on paper, like that jungle mid rotation thing, should be quite strong.
Yeah, for sure. They look really strong right now. So I'm curious to see what's going mid. Is it the Thanatos? Is that what we decided on, or no?
I think that's a good point.
We haven't decided anything, I can tell you that. Looking here at the composition, one thing that's standing out to me is Fnatic has drafted a composition that's very much, we're going to deathball and fight you. It's a 5-man fighting setup. Team Solo mid drafted a team fight team, right? So like, it's kind of weird, right? Fnatic is very snowball oriented as this 5-man deathball. They need early towers really badly to get map control, but they're fighting into Sylvanas counter initiation.
What are we looking at here? Your mid jungle. Okay, your mid jungle, and Zeros is going to be playing Thanatos mid.
Yeah. Wow.
And it'll be Boosh piloting Alpoash in the mid lane, and it's a more standard setup than perhaps some of the flavor we were suggesting.
Well, Divios is going to play that Nox solo, which we said we potentially going to be there.
Yeah, it's cool to see too that the Thanatos Freya combo, Freya could ult the Alpoash in mid, and Thanatos could land and dunk late game, so they could blow Alpoash every single time.
Yep. So we're going to see them
moving up aggressively.
See how they can do.
On the left side here, Fnatic looking to catch out that early warding, but already there and on his way back is Ionic. Unlikely to find much here as they are going to be spotted out by this ward now, placing their own deep ward at the blue buff there to spot any potential, the purple buff to spot out any potential invades of their own. 30 seconds till the gong rings, guys. TSM versus Fnatic, game 1 of 5 underway now. If you are just joining us, my name is Bart. I'm joined by Hinduman on the desk, and our competitive insight for this game will be Roar of Fat Chunks fame.
And a support player, so we should actually get some good insight into the support players coming out from both these teams. So, first of all, Aurora, talk me through Sylvanas against the Bologna matchup.
Yeah, this is interesting. Bologna's been coming out of support a lot. The European teams are liking this, and it's worked out really well for Paradigm, so I'm excited to see how Badja plays it in this game. Notice Sylvanas does have beads, so he can get away if he gets in trouble, so that's a good pickup by Ionic.
Yeah, very, very astute. I mean, very heads up. We'll see if that factors in as well, if they're able to avoid and turn around perhaps a gank using that Wrath of Terror. You can see the invade coming out, though. Fnatic aggressively taking that orange buff away from the right side of TSM. And TSM has, looks like they sniffed out. They thought this was going to be an invade. I mean, they left just Nox over there and completely forfeited it, and they're going to start Thor in the mid lane.
They're going to get mid-caps at the right-hand side as well, off Fnatic. And what that's going to do is just deny Nox any sort of extra experience in that lane. Osiris versus Nox in that lane, I'm feeling Osiris isn't really going to worry about this Aurora.
Yeah, Osiris should have an easy time. He's just going to clear with his Death Soul, heal up a lot. Nox has to use her wave clear, or her 2 as wave clear.
Well, her only wave clear.
Yeah, so she can't really poke Osiris, so it's just going to be a farm lane, most likely.
Okay. Yeah, it's a difficult lane. I mean, you saw TSM, right? When you pick a mage into the solo lane, it's very much we're giving up that side of the map in terms of jungle control. But smartly enough, you know, they kind of defer that blue buff pickup to a little bit later, and they will secure it for Divios here. And they've got him through at least the hairiest part of the game, picking a mage.
I'll be honest, the Nox I didn't actually expect to see today, so I've not learned the ability what the 3 is called now. But all I know is that can be used in conjunction with Thor's ultimate to take her into the sky too, and then dunk down and explode for the double.
It's called Shadow Step, of course.
Oh, I'm so bad.
As you can see, yeah, that allows Nox to enter a friendly unit. Essentially, and then she can exit it as well, dealing damage.
She can stay in for 8 seconds. However, if she's in the sky, she'll stay in the sky with them until she lands and then immediately detonate. A lot like a bird bomb from Odin.
But, I mean, with a Thanatos, unfortunately, is the mid laner for Fnatic. He won't be able to get involved in that many rotations, but is a very, very good opportunity to kill Divios if he's able to make his way out of the mid lane.
With this Thanatos mid lane, he should be getting more farm, right? 'Cause as a mid laner, you generally see a lot more farm in this mid lane. Will we see like Thanatos start to hit like
what can you itemize with as Thanatos with all that added income?
I wonder, I think he's probably going to go Jotuns first, and then he'll build into some tank items. After that, it really matters on the pace of the game and how it's going. Another thing to note too is Alpwash is 3 when it hits him, and he uses his Death Sight, he actually gets stunned, so that's interesting. Another thing too, the duo lane, Sylvanas Apollo versus the Bologna support, I think it's a way better look than Cloud9 had all day today for their duo lane combos.
Yeah, I think TSM in this combination here as well, they're going to definitely have lane push against the Bologna Freya. Freya obviously has that pulse damage early, but it doesn't wave clear effectively too early on. And Bologna, well, she can Scourge and Bludgeon, but she's going to be careful about getting pulled in or rooted.
Captain Twig on the Amir jungle, a poke ahead above Degars, who's still sitting at level 4. Can Amir get something going with this early Glacial Strike and ultimate combination? But, maybe not. I mean, it's pretty hard for him to really get in on any of these lanes as Amir.
What we just saw is Divios there. That's what he's going to have to do. Shadow Step all the time for disengage just to stay away. I doubt we'll see him use that aggressively at all unless he's going to confirm a kill for him. I mean, a lot of the players on the Nox, you'll see them try and use Shadow Step for aggression if they can. But in a negative lane matchup like this, really, where you're not going to be able to kill them, you just got to play it safe.
Well, 3 minutes into this one, guys. No kills on the board. Gold, basically even TSM a little bit ahead, about 100 gold ahead here, but that's all washing out as the lanes get cleared. And, well, yeah, the story of this game has more or less been that solo lane, but here we go. The rotation coming in on the way. Mid-camp's coming up here.
Yeah, TSM is just going to take lefts for free. There's no aggression there. Obviously, Fnatic didn't have the actual cooldown of when they were going to be up, and the right ones, well, Fnatic should be the ones in position for it because they're the ones that took those before TSM knew about it, so we'll probably just see them swing around, pick those up. There's going to be nothing to really write home about just yet.
Aurora's just pointing this out to us, and I think it's a pretty astute observation here. Look at the gold difference between the Sylvanas and the Bologna here going into this one. Watcher's Gift helping along with that, but just superior positioning and the ability to just really zone out Bologna. She really can't approach the wave at all, and it's translated into about a 300 gold advantage and an early Talaria boots out of Sylvanas.
Yeah, this is great by Sylvanas. He's going to be getting a lot more gold than Bologna is. Watchers ramps up like the entire game. Every wave, you get a lot more gold from it because every time a minion dies, you get gold. So Bologna with the Death Soul is not getting that extra gold, so she's going to be behind a little bit. Also, he has the Talaria boots now, too, on top of the Watcher's Gift.
Now, the better for Euro, like, it goes quite late most of the games now. You see more like 4, 5, 6 item builds coming out from the teams as well. As it transitions into the late game, would you rather have sided with the Bologna here or the Sylvanas?
The Sylvanas, because he's going to be having... He'll get an extra item on Bologna all game, the way it looks right now.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really a fan of the Talaria boots. If they have enough damage, Sylvanas just needs to get his ultimate off. He doesn't really need to be doing as much damage as Bellona. So the way he's itemizing is to get the auras on early, and he also has the wisps for more protections as well.
Composition-wise here, it's a little bit awkward, I think. I mean, Fnatic has drafted a lineup that's really difficult to execute. Like, the execution threshold for this lineup is very, very high versus Team Solo mid that's got a bunch of giant circles, right? Wrath of Terra, Empty the Crypts from Alpoash, the big silence, persistent silence from Divios, right? It's such a lower execution requirement to execute the team fight.
I mean, there's 4 circles on the side of Fnatic, but like you said, to execute that is a lot more, it's difficult in itself just to do that. Thanatos, however, with this blink at the start, he took this early, did zeros. I'm expecting to see, now that we've seen Ymir pick this up in the jungle for Captain Twig, double blinks in mid lane, silence into the freeze combo.
That's what you're seeing in high-level ranked right now is ubiquitous blinks.
Yep.
6+ per game.
That's correct. We saw. To be fair, in mid lane, one of the first players to really use it was Pretty Prime over in EU. He would aggressively blink on the old Nox.
Yeah.
And he would just go in like ham. And Isis too. He was very well known for it. And now with the changes that have happened to Sprint and to the likes of Aegis, we're starting to see a little bit more of these aggressive blinks coming out. How's it to play against Aurora?
Blink's very interesting to play against. Like, I remember playing with Kabam, and he got blinked on by his support after the patch happened. He's like, oh my god, he has Blink this early. Like, people are not used to having Blink on the map like as early as it is this patch. Thanatos picked it up extremely early, especially for a mid laner, and especially for a mid lane Thanatos.
Yeah, for me, that's Gars not having enough impact, right? Like, he should be able to force a Thanatos into a beads from the mid lane position as Thor early on. I mean, at least with some aggression, but we haven't really seen any ultimates fired off outside of Divios is used to clear the wave there.
They have kill potential with a Thor into an Alpoash ult as well, and if we do see the rotation coming as well from Ionic on the Sylvanas, they have kill potential on the Thanatos 25 times out of 26.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and then there's some crazy, there's some crazy engineering talk about, the flux of that Alpoash ultimate, how you can position the Thor wall to force them to walk kind of perpendicular to the path that they want to go to be hit by as many ghosts as possible. Getting a little mathy there, but an interesting combination they have.
Smart thing by Fnatic there, they gave up the mid camps because they knew that Alpoash and Sylvanas were in position. If they tried to fight them in that little area, Alpoash would have just blown them up with his abilities in the Thor wall and the Sylvanas ult. So great job to Fnatic to just give those up and take the other side and do something else while TSM is taking them.
This whole game so far has been exactly as expected between these two teams. They're feeling each other out once again. They've faced against each other multiple times. And speaking to Fnatic, they're like, we don't know what we're going to play. Let's find out game one and work from there. And both teams not wanting to give any sort of margin to the other.
It's funny to see Divios playing this Nox because it's only funny insofar as that, like, historically, the way that TSM wins games it lands is Divios bringing out something that people didn't expect. Giannis.
Agreed.
Osiris.
Well, the Giannis thing, I expected the potential of them leaving that up and giving it over to Divios because he talks about it all the time still being potentially viable in the solo lane once more. And he actually thinks it gives a bigger impact there because he can get the farm safely for the most part from that lane and then fast rotations.
They're going to bring Zeros over here as well. They really want to try to make something happen, but it's just not going to be in time, even with the blink, unable to close the gap fast enough on the side of the Thanatos. And, well, Fnatic has such an early game-oriented lineup here. It's a little bit troubling to see them not getting any momentum out of the Thanatos-Amir, especially combination, that's just so powerful to the first 10-15 minutes of the game.
They do have an early game lineup, but you have to keep in mind they have Alpoash and Sylvanas. They have a lot of gods that they'll get into Thanatos' execute range threshold faster in late game, and he'll be able to pick them off. So Fnatic's late game is not as bad as it looks for them, depending on TSM's comp.
Well, especially as well, when you actually look at what Maniac is here. He's playing Osiris, very good against physical gods. On top of that, he's building magical resistance. How are they going to be able to kill him?
The Alpoash is just still going to do a ton of damage, even with the Stone of Gaia, and Sylvanas ult is going to do a lot to him. Like, a lot of the magic damage is going to just blow him up for the majority of these fights.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned as well. I mean, looking at the composition, right? Like, Freya has to get a lot done. Reels has to do a lot here to force Team Solo Mid to at least consider buying those magical defensive items, because if not, and they get, like, mystical males running, like, just very little that Fnatic will be able to do to cut through that.
Realistically, the only hyper carry I see on this team is Freya. And across the way, I don't see a hyper carry there. And we see it Apollo, and Apollo's going to be effective late game. Like, if they're behind, they can split push. In a team fight, he's still going to crit. But there's only one hyper carry in this team, and then there's going to be this full build below it potentially, especially, with how this game's gone so far. We're going to go very late.
I don't know, man. It's the value of Audacity late in the game is just insane. That's Apollo's passive, of course, giving the double attack speed conditionally. You know, he can toe-to-toe, he can man-fight Freya with Audacity. Without it, though, you're right. I mean, it's pretty much a wash for her, especially if she likes to go into like the Witchblade, which we've seen Freya's do when she was in Vogue. Would be surprised to see a 5th or 6th item for the Freya.
More than likely. Well, a bit of a grouping in mid lane between the two teams here. Looking for a bit of potential, but nothing's really going to be available for the time being. One thing to note, though, once again, not many hogs online. No hogs, in fact. Aurora, what's it like now? You know, with the changes to the hog meta, like, are we just not seeing it at all? What's the reason?
Well, Hog only does 900 or 1,000 damage, I believe, now to the objectives at rank 3. So, Ceresol coming out.
Oh, here we go. Wrath of Terror coming out. Badger in some trouble. He's caught in the burst from Boosh. Clear the crits coming out as well. Badger is down, but Zero's going to get a return kill easily there. The Thorwall not on the mark. Captain Twig in some trouble as well. The jungler down. Over the top comes Snoopy. Can they find Zeros as well? Yes. The slow from Outwatch will hit. One more shot's going to do it, but zoned out by Maniac. Where is Divios? He's in the fight. He's got the shackle on him, but here comes Reels. Does Freya have enough? Divios to fall as well. The pop coming out from Outwatch. Not enough to secure the kill. Up into the sky with Valkyrie's discretion. No kill secured just yet. Resurging again is Snoopy. One more shot going to do it. Dashing forward, but can't fight Reels, not with Pulse activated. And that's a 3-for-3 bloodbath just to the right of the mid lane.
Absolute bloodbath between the two teams as well. Only a 700 gold lead established for TSM. That's generally down to the first blood more than anything else between those two. And no team is going to be able to capitalize on that at all. I mean, that fight, for all intents and purposes, it went pretty even.
Yeah, the Thanatos resets played a big part into that. Whenever Thanatos gets a kill, his cooldowns drop by 5 seconds. Him getting the double kill was huge, and that's what let them tie the team fight.
I mean, Badger going down there was like quite surprising. He should be one of the tankier front lines, but he didn't really hit that yet. Obviously, I think he just got back now and got steel mail, but is that a hog?
No, that's a
creepy curse. Sorry,
creepy curse.
I thought you just gone back and got it, so I was confused. But yeah, I mean, he's only just got rank 1 of Steel Mail now online, so he wasn't that tanky for that engagement. And Bellona, you know, she does need a little bit of help. Not much, but a little.
Yeah, Hog, the type of item that, you know, with the changes to it, I mean, it's probably will be some time before we see it come back in, but I mean, I do think it definitely still has a place, and that's definitely something to look for as we get deeper into this tournament, whether or not teams will start using that purely for the metagame implications of, you know, you didn't think we were going to do this, but we did do it, in fact. You know, maybe getting that Hog 3-on-1 back to take a specific objective at a certain time.
Crazy thing about that whole engagement, though, as well, but if you look at it, all the carries that you want to have the kills on went to those gods. Like, you can see Reels managed to pick himself up a kill. Snoopy got 2 in that engagement. Zero's in mid lane on this Thanatos, which you're looking for mid-game control and aggression out of him, especially with the god that he's picked for the extra damage. And then finally rounding things off as well, Alposh in mid lane picks himself up a kill and 2 assists.
But it's about the mid lane here. Boosh in a lot of trouble. The silence coming out, doing quite a bit. Alposh unable to run from this one. He's going to use clear the crypts, but up into the sky goes Zero's. Easy kill there is going to hit Ionic as well for the stun. Can they secure this one? He's right outside of his tower. Going to need a few hits. It doesn't look like Zero's going to let that one go.
Apollo's in the sky. That's why they were trying to disengage. He's going to chase on for the kill to Zero's, but juked out nicely, and away he goes.
Great spot. I mean, just a really, really nice positioning out of Zero's, right? He just turned that wall, forced Snoopy to pick one side or the other, and then went to the other.
Yeah, really good thing about Zero's there. He knew Snoopy was low on mana, so if he went to the other side of the wall, Snoopy couldn't turn around. So that was a perfect juke by Zero's, just knowing how Apollo works.
I see an engagement again in the jungle. Here's the aggression comes out from Badger, and here's Zero's.
Badger trying to force this one a bit. It looks like Deathside going to be off the mark. Reinitiation not coming up, but they've isolated Snoopy with the banish into the wall, and down he will go. They get a kill onto the carry.
Oh, that pull did not connect from Ionic. If he could have got one of them, they would have traded back the kill for sure, especially with the tower in tow. But 5-3 goes Fnatic now, and a great pick.
The kill bounty not as important as the uptime that Freya will enjoy. 30 seconds for Snoopy before he respawns.
And the uptime you can see over in the left-hand lane, what's Reels doing? He's free farming, not having an issue to have to deal with anybody, going to be able to deny a wave to Apollo to the tower as well. That's where you get the experience in gold lead now, not the kills.
Remember when like hunters would just buy sprint 3 and they would be able to walk down, right, any target? That's what Fatalis does. Well, and Freya is now going to be, once she finishes this demonic grip, we'll be able to go toe-to-toe with the Apollo, even with his Executioner, right? There was a moment there, and I started to say it, but we had an engagement where Apollo finishing that Executioner before Freya gets into her first damage item gives him a really nice power spike over her and his ability to bully to the lane. But now with that kill and the additional uptime and closing the gap in the gold difference, now down to about 200 between the two, Demonic Grip going to be online roughly the same time as Executioner, and is going to make that trade, that one moment of Apollo having the power spike not really anywhere near as potent.
Exactly. On top of that, if you can actually banish Apollo during like an Audacity or just in the middle of a combo, you force him to reset and have to start landing the autos all over again, so you can throw off his actual aim due to that as well. One thing to note though, talk about sprint. He has picked up sprint.
Hold on. Amir is out farming everybody in this game by like 600 gold.
That's him here, Jungle Bolt looking in the left-hand lane. We're going to see a
nice
lot of aggression on Reels. He's in a lot of trouble. Those
That
dots are
disarm.
hurting.
I mean, this is such. I mean, so like we saw this lane coming out, right? And in the first couple of games, we were kind of like, oh, it looks good. It seems effective. But there you really see the true kind of cheesy power of this lane, right? The disarm into Valkyrie's discretion. Like, what? You can't do anything. You can't kill the target.
Believe Reels lived there. That was crazy. The Sylvanas whiff spanned the ult, so
It was 1 dot away.
it was so crazy. I can't believe he lived.
As I was going to say, though, Snoopy has picked up Sprint 1 here. I mean, Aurora, you played a lot of solo queue, obviously, you know, and you're still in training for, you know, the next competitive team you're on. What are we going to see with this? Are we seeing a lot of heavenly agilities now?
We'll either see a Heavenly Agility, or if he goes the Fatalis build, he'll pick up Sprint 3.
Oh.
It really depends, yeah. Getting Sprint 3 is still good with the Fatalis because you don't have the auto attack penalty, so yeah.
Well, has he tipped his hand there? I mean, does that pretty much necessitate the Fatalis?
Well, no, he could go Heavenly Agility as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it accomplishes the same thing. You get all that bonus MS, but
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day here, we actually saw, I think, 3 sprints coming out on the side of Team TSM. Definitely seems to be off meta.
I think it's to get away from the Freya ult shots because he knows if he gets hit by the Freya ultimate shots that Thanatos is going to be able to execute it.
Yeah, that's right. And it even juking the Thanatos as well. And,
Yeah.
Well, as you saw in that last engagement, right, the disarm comes out, Freya basically at 1 HP, but she does gain the benefit of her passive lifesteal while in the ultimate. Is able to kind of drain tank basically through that last dot.
Yeah.
And on top of that, with Sprint 3 as well, you still get the immunity to slows as well. So
Yeah.
you can get away from the pulses from Freya,
Right.
which are going to cause an issue too for him to be able to, you know, just juke the attacks.
But over something like a winged blade, it's maybe a little curious, but I guess not. I mean, really,
It's
really,
It's an
the-
active slot
Right,
compared
it's an
to
active
an
slot
item
versus an
slot.
item, yeah.
Yeah, and you get more damage out of items than you do out of active.
Wing Blades, though, definitely an item that's going to factor in heavily here with an Outwash on the table. It's kind of a question of exactly how this one's going to go. Like, will we see those coming out specifically on the Thanatos?
I think with an Alpwash as well, what you tend to do is either you focus him down early so he doesn't get that damage online that can really threaten you with that ultimate. However, if it does become a factor, that's when you start transitioning. If you've not managed to focus him down as much as you wanted to, maybe you'll transition to Wingblade then. Would you say the same? Or?
Yeah, another thing with Thanatos too, his 2 gives him slow immunity.
Good point.
So he might not need the Wingblade. If he wants more cooldown off it, then yeah, sure. But with his 2,
The HP, the cooldown,
yeah. With his 2, he could run through, empty the crypts, and then
Send a
just
death
stand on
and
top
then
of yeah.
on top of that, increased penetration too.
Yeah,
just adds to the
exactly.
mix. Yeah, just burst down through the Alpwash.
Icing on the cake. Yeah, you know, there was a period where like basically every run speed's there and its might gave you slow immunity, and a lot of those got phased out over time. But Thanatos continues to enjoy that, and well, it's one of the kind of unknown pieces that really keeps him viable.
Well, I mean, we sat currently in a pause if you didn't already realize that we're about to cast the cams for the time being. And this is the first game of the day. Sorry, the first game of
the set.
The set between TSM and Fnatic. And talking to the teams beforehand, which we actually did. We did actually see that I talked to Badger, and Badger was saying he expects a 3-0 in favor of Fnatic, and they're all going to be 20-minute games.
Yeah, both teams.
And
expecting
Snoopy
that.
said the same thing.
At this rate, though, I don't think we're going to see a 20-minute game, at least not in game 1, as opposed to 15-minute mark, guys. TSM versus Fnatic. It's 5-3 in kills in favor of Fnatic.
So we're going to see exactly what's going on here over in the right-hand lane for the time being. Quickly tuning in with the boys over there. DVO's playing this Nox, which people have underestimated or underrated for the time being. I mean, Aurora, have you seen much of a competitive play at all recently?
No, not recently. The Nox is a new pick, just like the Bologna today in the support role, so it's very interesting to see. I'm excited. I love new picks. You know me, I love the Fenrirs, I love the Ares, like all that stuff. So it's cool to see something new.
Although Ares is
innovative.
only a new thing for North America.
Yeah.
It's been released in the EU for a very long time.
No,
honestly.
yeah, of course.
So, like, you know, it's kind of a testament to Divios as a player. He picks a god without sustain and doesn't build any sustain items.
We're going to see exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a little. It's like, how does he kind of manage this? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm at like 10 HP at this
Well,
point.
he pulled out Giannis as well recently. You know, when last time he did this on Giannis, and it was like, how's this going to work? He's just going to get poked down and destroyed. He was like, no, I'll sit on the tower, farm from distance, and then ult rotate to the team fights in mid and clean up because of my amazing mobility.
Yeah, but doesn't he? He now is going to require that Thor to help him get across the map, and has gone into that Warlock Sash, you know, for the bonus HP to kind of stay in the lane a little bit longer. But still, no benefit of any lifesteal, and doesn't look like there's any coming soon. What appears to be a Chronos pendant coming his way.
Well, he has got Heavenly Agility online as well, so he can escape those slows from his side if he does get caught. But talk about getting caught right now.
Gar's in a bit of trouble here. Weakening Curse coming out as well. Bologna over the top, but Gar's channeling the ultimate. Not going to make it out of time. Ionic Wrath of Terror knocking up 3, but no follow-up here. Boosh being poked out. Ionic up into the sky is Zeros. Will he find the dunk? I don't think he wants to go to tower. They've pulled the Apollo with the threat of the Thanatos. That's a win for Fnatic.
It's a win, but what else can they get off it? They clean up the left Harpies are down.
They can take Gold Fury.
The Gold Fury, yeah. Freya started to heal up off it as well.
Well, look, they noticed Snoopy had taken across the skies, realized he couldn't engage, went to go farm back camps, and just walked in. Let's take a listen along with TSM as they try to contest this.
Osiris. They got a lot of damage.
Yeah, we should chase them. Just follow them up.
Yeah. Just be careful.
If you have Blink,
look at Bologna.
Yeah, I'm trying to blink.
Bologna. I can.
Roots in 1.
That's his
Beads. The mirror freeze.
Captain Twigs. Freeze.
It's my soldiers. We can back off.
They're gone in.
We can push
mid.
mid.
Yeah, whatever.
I think we should have gone in.
think
They
that-
use a lot of stuff on me actually. They used Blown Ult and I don't know.
They're
They used
there,
Threat Cell earlier. Failed. Actually, I don't know if they used Freeze Ult.
I think we need to use up
didn't.
ult defensively a little bit more.
I wasn't.
As you heard there, TSM trying to make something out of nothing, unable to force much, but they do seem relatively pleased with the amount of cooldowns that they forced out in that last engagement.
But then what's going to come up next? I mean, Gold Fury's down for a while, so mid Harpy. So I mean, they're talking about what went down there, but that just to me went off Fnatic's way.
Yeah, for sure. Gold Fury for nothing. Or no, they even
They
got
got
a kill.
killed,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fnatic just took. Yeah, they took the entire
TSM
thing
just
there.
the captains of the silver lining. I guess they're looking for something good out of that.
They used a lot of us.
Yeah, at least they use a bunch of ultimates. Well, as you look at the graphs, guys, 6,000 experience just swung the way of Fnatic, and a lot of it in the last 3 to 4 minutes. Gold difference, obviously, just now really dropping in their favor, down to that 2,400, the first real lead of the game. 18 minutes in this one, guys. If you are just joining us here, it is set number 2, game number 1, TSM versus Fnatic here on day number 1 of our Summer LAN Finals for Split 2. This event is powered by Curse Voice. Our other title sponsors are Alpha Draft, which is a daily fantasy site, which will be open for tomorrow once this game concludes. So make sure to get those picks in and have a chance to earn real money.
A little bit of poke from Devios there, but you can see what happens with Devios if he goes for poke up against this lineup of Maniac has on this Osiris. He can't actually do anything. He's going to actually have to, only poke him and not the minions, so he's just going to lose lane pressure all the time.
Roy, I want to get your opinion here on the Osiris build, opting into this execution, a little bit more of an aggressive build
We got a fight
than
here.
the Ick file, but it looks like we're going to have a fight coming out. No, the root just off the mark as the Lord of the Afterlife ultimate expended there by Maniac. But talk to me a little bit about this executioner, specifically over the Ick file.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a build where he doesn't really have much protection, so if he dives in... Oh, we might have another fight here.
Yeah, it's going to be at least isolated out on the left side as Gar's beads forced out. You got to think the call's coming their way. Zeros, he's one piled in on
Zeros
now.
is
And
dead.
Thanatos not known for his survivability, but able to make it out in time. Bologna over the top. Amir ultimate use. Clear the crypts for the disengage, and Badger looks like he'll be the only really opportunity for a kill here for TSM for the moment, and they'll take it happily, but looking for a bit more, and they're actually lucky they got out of that one with a kill and not some death.
Zeros was the one that got caught there, and Badger was the one to rescue him and sacrifice his life. That's something you see from supports, but mid lane, we might see another pick.
Twig in some trouble, rooted out. Now the spin to win on top of him. Going to freeze out too. Wrath of Terror used for the support. Real's going to throw some pot shots with the Banis. Nearly enough to secure the life, but nothing cooking just yet. Boosh going to eat that scythe as well from Zeros, who is quite low on mana, but as you may know, Thanatos don't need much of it to get it done.
This is a good grouping as well from TSM in the mid lane now as well. They're trying to put pressure on the tower, knowing they've got a man advantage, but round the back,
Oh,
Devios might get a little bit caught here, but quick disengage with the Shadow Step.
Yeah, what's important here, I think, as well, is that Fnatic does not have anybody up on the board that can reliably clear the wave here. Freya, more of a single target damage dealer, obviously Thanatos melee range as well as Maniac there. There's not much they can do to push them off, and happily grouping as 5 and taking down the tier 1 in the mid lane will be your first tower of the game going towards Team Solo Mid.
Really worked out well for them there, Aurora. I mean, TSM just lost the Gold Fury, then managed to find a pick in the jungle and they just convert it even further.
Yeah, without Osiris being more tanky, it was hard for him to frontline there, so Badger was kind of alone, so that hurt a lot, especially because Thanatos got poked out really fast in that fight. So I'm expecting Badger to go into more defensive items after this Executioner. If he doesn't, TSM's going to take full advantage and just blow him up every single fight.
Well, as a support Bologna as well, I mean, you play support yourself, and when you play in that role, I guess you're used to sacrificing yourself for the most part, at least when you're not got Hog.
Well, I want to at least make sure that my team follows up with me if I'm sacrificing myself. It looked like their comms were a little off there. I think Thanatos, he was sitting up above. He wanted to re-engage, but he wasn't able to.
Yeah, there was no
Real
teammate
vanishes
to
out Ionic. Snoopy moving forward, doesn't find the Mez in time, and will not be able to secure anything off of the back of that.
Yeah, that was a good call from Snoopy to disengage there with the Sylvanas as well, because you just saw Zeros in the jungle lurking. He would have jumped in with the ultimate if he needed to, just to help secure the kill. So really smart play from TSM just to disengage that engage.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about composition again, though. On the side of Fnatic, it's such an awkward one here, where the Osiris, as you mentioned, is built into this damaging item, can't really be a frontliner. Therefore, Amir is now your kind of proxy frontliner out of the jungle, and you can see he's built into more defensive-minded items. And then again, of course, Bologna going into that full tank build. But have they tried to cut this one too close to the quick?
I mean, this is half and half builds, right? They're going to look for semi-engages, and then they can all do damage. That's what they're kind of looking for, but they've got different tankiness to just rotate in and out. Or is that what you see sometimes where you're just like trying to rotate in and out between the two of you and like just share the damage and the the tankiness?
Yeah. I think with their team right now, he's thinking that they need more physical damage because they don't have a true hunter. So that's his mindset of picking up the Executioner. I just feel like if he's going to go in against an Outwash, Sylvanas, Apollo comp, if he doesn't have that defense, he's just going to get blown up instantly. So that's why I'm hoping he gets more defensive.
What other defense would you go for? I mean, you've got Stone of Gaia anyway for the regen and the magical protection. Are you looking for what other item would you pick up here?
You could go Urchin, Midgardian, depending on how
it's getting
he feels.
so dangerous for Fnatic here. I mean, the 2 Warlock Sashes are out on the side of TSM.
Yep.
Can they reliably do enough damage to kill them with these hybrid builds?
Well, that's the thing with the Warlock Slashes as well. That's to just help stop Thanatos from being able to get you an execute range so quickly in these engagements. And I think that's what Fnatic's composition's really about, is get someone in execute range, turn it into a 4v5 with the Thanatos dunk, and then turn the fight.
Well, looked like maybe an opportunity to pick up guards there. Nothing going to come out of that one. Take a look at the Sylvanas here, though, picking up that Ancient Blade on his way to what is likely a Witchblade here. Witchblade
or Wingblade? I mean, Witchblade would be very effective against Freya and Osiris as well to an extent, but most of the gods probably not as useful as you expect. I mean, I'm sure where we go. Where would you go with that, Aurora? I mean, would you go Witchblade or would you go for Winged?
On Osiris?
On Sylvanas.
Oh, Sylvanas?
Yeah.
The Wingblade would probably be the one that's picked up here because the Thanatos slow. The Witchblade's really good, but I don't feel like it could be a Witchblade because they do have Osiris. It's hard to tell, but they have a lot of slows as well.
Freya for the attack speed slow,
well, yeah.
But then they've also got the protections from the physical protections from that as well.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't get picked up because of the Freya because Freya, he doesn't have enough health to live from Freya yet.
Anyway,
I could see it later on, but not that slot.
Right, yeah, it needs the HP that Wingblade does provide to kind of tank through some of these situations.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the Wingblade would be helpful as well. It's such a weird scenario of which one do you go in that.
Not to mention, Sylvanas makes pretty decent use of that attack speed on the Wingblade.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those auto attacks eventually do pile up, and sometimes like with the Wisps and then your dot from Wrath of Terror as well, a couple of auto attacks you can kill a carry quite effectively.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Witchblade, but I think it's going to be the Wingblade for the time being.
Yeah, it seems to make sense. I mean, they fall apart pretty quickly if Sylvanas can't get in there and get a Wrath of Terra. So Wingblade helping him close that distance a bit here. Yeah, you can see some kind of technical issue. Snoopy
just dealing with it right
dealing
now.
With it, yeah.
Patiently waiting, having a little chinwag about how the game's going so far. And to the fans at home and to like us from a standpoint, I mean, this game's kind of gone as we expected in terms of like backwards and forwards between the two because they've always had those sort of matchups.
They're definitely feeling each other out here.
It feels like, I mean, the surprise pick in game 1 by Devios to run Nox as well. But then, to be fair, Thanatos running mid lane is a surprise pick too. So both teams just came out.
That's just that Zeros really likes Thanatos. I mean, that was like his go-to jungler.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm a mid laner now. I'm still going to play.
Well, to be fair, he has the lowest deaths of any mid laner.
Yeah, hey, if you're
in
going to
the whole of SPL.
And I mean, in the game as a whole, right, Thanatos